Hi everyone. Um, uh, my name is Jibril Ibrahim, and this is the iMedia TV, iMedia Network channel. And I've decided to come online today. It's probably one of the first streams we'll be having, but a lot of things are currently happening globally that makes it necessary for us to, you know, discuss this attack that Iran has made on Qatar. Qatar is a fellow neighbor. So we are essentially having a situation where Israel, as some have said, has succeeded in making an Arab or a Muslim nation to attack another Muslim nation. This is something that has not happened in a long time. The last time you had a Muslim on Muslim kind of situation like this will have been during the Iran Iraq war, which is quite a while ago. Usually, you don't have. Can you hear me? Usually, we don't have a situation where Muslim nations go on Muslim nations. It's usually more of the time colonial powers, attacking um, the indigenous people. So this is probably one of the first times that we would have a Muslim on Muslim situation. Um, would spend would allow a few conversation goes. I'll be expecting others that will be joining us on this program. Let me share the link to others that might want to join. So this is iMedia Global News Review. iMedia Global News Review, where I just generally look at activities that is happening. Let me off the light. Let me off. Yeah, no, no, yeah. So I just generally look at activities that are happening around the world and see what we could understand from what is happening. Currently, there is the emerging news that attacked. Um, Iran has attacked American bases in the Middle East. That's especially the one in Qatar, which is probably the largest American base in the whole of the Middle East. Iran has attacked it now. So that is really a major escalation, and that's probably why I just feel this. It's a very serious issue that everybody is concerned about because normally Qatar is one of those countries that have supported Hamas. and this is becoming one of a very tense situation because nation is attacking a Muslim nation. This is unprecedented. Well, maybe not necessarily unprecedented, but it's quite unfortunate that you have a neighboring nation that is nice. So we essentially have a situation where the Israelis have succeeded in pitching a Muslim nation over another. Israel started this started this whole war. You see, that's as you can see in that video, you can see that there is massive explosion and stuffs in Qatar. And Qatar is normally one of the most peaceful countries in the world. They try to maintain their sovereignty. But unfortunately, they have American bases. The largest American base in the Middle East is in Qatar. So that creates a situation that makes them, now that America has entered the war. And why did America enter the war? America entered the war to to falling for the whole narrative that Israel is giving, because Israel is bent on bringing Iran down, because they essentially believe that Iran is the only country in the world that is like able to confront Israel and ask them, why are you oppressing the Palestinians? Most other countries just take it as okay, we condemn what Israel is doing and everything. But Iran is the only country that Israel fears that could actually strike them back. They believe that since they have the backing of America, they could actually, do and undo to so many, especially the Palestinians. So is Iran is probably the only country that we know of that has the mind to 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 challenge Israel. Iran's Iran was not part of all the wars that the Arabs have had with Israel. So you see live on so many, they'll be very close to what is happening in that place now. And it's unfortunate that, I don't know, you could type in anyone that is with me on the show, you could, type in your questions if you have contributions to this. This is, a breaking situation. This just happened barely 20 minutes ago, and we can only pray to God that this does not escalate third world war. So we pray that this is not going to lead to a world war, because America, Donald Trump had promised that if Iran should retaliate for the bombing of their sites that Iran did, uh, they were going to really notch up, they were really going to ratchet up the stakes. And now Iran has retaliated. So you could have a situation where America tries to go in with even bigger guns, bigger bombings. But the good thing here is we know Americans fear war. We know Americans fear war, and will America retaliate to the retaliation? That's like the challenge. That's the situation we are having now. Will America retaliate to the retaliation? One of the questions that was asked was that, was this the base? Because let me show you the map, the relative position of Iran, relative position uh, Iran, of Qatar to Iran. If you are with me, please type where you are watching us from. I know Amina Akman, you are there. Type something that lets me know that I'm not completely alone on the show. But this is something that really, really calls for prayers. I think this calls for some serious prayers actually, because this can get out of hand very quickly. If Qatar should get angry, they could retaliate, they could revenge back at Iran. And if if America should decide to retaliate to this retaliation, that could be an escalation, because for Iran now, they have been fighting. Thanks for watching from Nigeria. Thank you very much. I'm a Muslim. That's a big name. That's a big name, and I believe we should be in prayers for the Muslim world. I think at this point, the world in general, but the Muslim world in specific, needs a lot of prayers that this does not escalate, because now this war is going on, is happening within the Muslim majority Muslim area. Now you have a Muslim country attacking the American base in another Muslim country. So this would definitely make the Israelis happy. The Israelis would definitely be happy to have a Muslim country attacking another Muslim country. And now Israel has been able to into the conflict also, because now you have Iran fighting Israel, fighting America, and potentially would even thank you. I saw that question now. They will have a situation where they are now even attacking Qatar, and there are even missiles that have been sent towards Iraq. Now, the valid question, thank you. I'm a Muslim from Nigeria. Why is Israel, why is Iran attacking Qatar? The issue here is not America to attack Iran, because all the weapons Israel have could not penetrate the nuclear facilities of Iran, especially the Fordo one. It's designed to be like 100 meters. Imagine 100 meter distance. Now, rather than running it horizontally, now imagine going into the ground for over 100 meters. It's really deep below the ground. All the weapon is to do it for them, and after a while, they were able to push America to do it for them. America was initially dilly-dallying and everything, but now America attacked day before yesterday, or yesterday into yesterday's morning. America attacked Iran. Now Iran wants to retaliate, but America is far away. So Iran does not have a choice. It feels it doesn't have a choice but to attack America in any location that is close to it. And the closest American bases to Iran now are, I'll be switching to, let me show you the map here now. You see Iran is here and Qatar is here. So America has bases in Qatar, Bahrain, UAE, Kuwait. So now America comes to your house, the Arabs here, to attack Iran. So like you have a guest, and the guest is going to fight in your neighborhood. So that is the problem. The guest goes to fight uh, to strike Iran from your house. A guest that is staying in Qatar, staying in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, Oman, Bahrain, Kuwait, and you know America still has bases in Baghdad, in Iraq. So America goes from these bases to attack Iran, and then America's house is, so to say, America is very far away from this region, but it comes to this region, use a base that it has within this region to attack Iran. So now Iran do not have missiles that can get to America, but the closest American bases and locations are on Muslim lands. So that is why Iran believes it's essentially attacking America that is in Muslim countries. So this is really a complex situation for Iran, and even for the people that are hosting American bases in this region. A month or so ago, where they showered him with gifts and everything. So he's a friend of the Arabs. Now he's striking on another person from your base, from your country. So it's really a difficult situation for the Arab hosts that are hosting the Americans. But now that is the situation that we are having with this with the Americans. So we'll keep following and monitoring this situation. We hope that things don't get out of hand.
Targeting 8 seekers near Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, Israel has turned the simple act of seeking food into an ordeal.
The world is shifting. Power, influence, and narrative.
The U.S. is increasingly isolated on the international stage. U.S. power is eroding.
Diplomacy is tested. What is Putin trying to prove?
The threat is from Russia to Ukraine, not Ukraine to Russia.
Upfront tackles the big issues only on Al Jazeera.
Al Jazeera, wherever you are.
Right up through the seats, down to the pitch.
With Al Jazeera's extended coverage of the latest escalation in the Middle East. Iran launches missile attacks on the largest U.S. military base in the Middle East, that's in Qatar. Tehran says it's a proportionate response to the American bombing of its nuclear sites. Qatar condemns the attack on the Al Udeid air base and says it has successfully intercepted the ballistic missiles. And the Pentagon says there are no reports of U.S. casualties after Iran launched short and medium-range ballistic missiles. So Iran has fired a salvo of missiles at the Al Udeid air base that's in Qatar. Tehran says the attack is in retaliation for the U.S. bombing of 3 of its nuclear sites on Sunday morning. These are some of the interceptions seen over the skies of the Qatari capital, Doha. The Al Udeid base in Qatar is the largest U.S. air base in the Middle East. The U.S. says no casualties have been reported in that attack. Now, some of the shrapnel and debris, on the other hand, did land in several locations. In a private yard and on the road. Qatar has condemned the attack, but says that it successfully intercepted the missiles. Qatar's Ministry of Defense has released a statement following the Iranian strike on a U.S. base. Quote, Qatar says its air defense has intercepted missiles targeting the Al Udeid air base. It continued saying the incident didn't result in any deaths of injuries. The ministry says Qatar's airspace and territory are safe. And Qatar's foreign ministry spokesperson, Majid Al-Ansari, has also put out a statement saying the state of Qatar strongly condemns the attack that targeted Al Udeid air base by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. We consider this a flagrant violation of the sovereignty of the state of Qatar, its airspace, international law, and the United Nations Charter. We affirm that Qatar reserves the right to respond directly in a manner equivalent with the nature and scale of this brazen aggression in line with international law. Al Jazeera's Osama bin Javed joins us here on set. Osama, you've been in Doha taking stock of this. You saw missiles in the skies over Doha, so you're a good person to talk to about this. You saw exactly what happened. Bring us up to speed and run us through the sequence of events.
Well, just about 2 hours ago, we saw the Qatari sky light up. It was like a show that you'd not expect here in Doha, where you saw incoming projectiles being met with outgoing air defenses here in Qatar. We were in the northern part where we saw them go out. We saw these missiles intercept them, and then we heard the large blasts as we've been seeing here across the Middle East. So it appears that the first time Iranians have actually targeted the Al Udeid airbase, the largest in the Middle East. And it does send shockwaves through the city. There were lots of people who were out and about. Being launched, we heard warnings from the Americans. We heard the warning from the British embassy that people should take shelter. We saw that the Qatari airspace, about an hour prior to these interceptions, was shut down. So it gives an indication that there was prior knowledge of this attack. And this has been the case previously as well.
Over time between the Palestinians and the Israelis. Would not want to attack the state of Palestine. They will not want to attack a place like Qatar or even Iraq. But as it is now, essentially there is no way for Iran to revenge or to retaliate for the attack that America had on it. For Israel is just 1 kilometer, is just barely 1,500 kilometers away. So Iran could actually, from Iran here to Israel is somewhere here, is barely 1,000 kilometers, 1,500 kilometers. So Iran could actually retaliate and fire rockets to Israel. But for America is so far away. If you look at it, America comes all the way from across the ocean to come and cause confusion in the Middle East. If you look at the global map, America is here, Iran is all the way here. So it's so far away that Iran cannot directly attack America. But America, with all its bases in Middle East, in Europe, if you say like Germany, they have a major base there. In Spain, they have a major base. All over the Middle East, from Saudi Arabia and the rest. So they leave their own cities secured and safe and come to fight wars and set people against themselves, sell weapons to everybody here in the Middle East. And unfortunately, people are falling for this. And now you have a war that started as Israel versus Iran, now getting Qatar and Iraq involved in it. It's an unfold situation that would need a lot of prayers, because this is happening. The one terrible thing with wars is that if you could be fighting a war, but it's terrible when it is happening on your own land. It's easier to go and fight in somebody else's compound, so that it's the person's house, the other person's land. So it's really a terrible thing to have wars going on the land, on the land of Muslims. That's actually the core issue here. because all these wars now, Israel fire Iran, Iran fires back. Now Iran is firing, is having to shoot rockets, missiles at Qatar and Iraq, and this is just the first strike. So I really don't know if you have me, if you are joining us, please join the chat, put in your words at the chat. Let's know who and who are here. And then if you have any question regarding this whole global situation, normally I would have felt that this is not so much of our business, but over time, these things are getting nearer and nearer. And we really need to be part of the conversation on how to bring peace, how to understand. Sometimes we are not even able to understand what is happening across the world, so we might not necessarily be able to add value to the conversation. So if you have any questions, or if you have questions about how this is going on, or are there things that you understand about what is going on, and there are things that you want me to share my own thoughts on, please put it in the chat comments. Let's start having conversation on some of this. Normally we would have said, I mean, I'm a Nigerian, I would normally just say what's my business is far away, but now a lot of people are still in Hajj, and Saudi Arabia is right here, and Saudi Arabia also holds a lot of these American bases. So if Iran decides to start striking every American base here, it could potentially actually reach Saudi Arabia. Please, Asia, please go ahead with your question. Let me best to try to answer it. So it's actually a dangerous thing to have wars going on your own land. It's something that America tries to avoid. It's something that America tries to avoid. But now, unfortunately, we are having a situation where, okay, thank you. Your question is what is really the cause of this war, and why is it escalating? If we are to look at like what is the root cause of this war, in all honesty, I would think the root cause of this war is the installation. You see, let me zoom to the Israeli land, to this Middle East, where the core of the problem is. You see, the whole thing started when, after World War One, Britain and the Western world assigned this land area. This area, I don't have a tool to shade it. Just this area that my cursor is now. They assigned it. It was Palestinian land. In fact, Palestine was almost a country under the Ottoman Empire. By the time the Ottoman Empire broke up, each of these Arab nations were grabbing their own lands. So Saudi Arabia grabbed his own, Jordan grabbed his own, everybody was grabbing, but the Palestinians, for whatever reason, they called it the British Mandate, because it was Britain that was in charge of that area, empowered Israelis to go there as their own, as a place where they can start settling down. That, for me, is the cause of all this, because by the time Israelis came here and took this place as their land, kicked out the Arab Palestinians that were there, the neighboring Arabs, Jordan, Syria, Saudi, and Egypt, all tried to defeat the Israelis, but Israel had the backing of the rest of Europe and America. So all major powers from Europe in Israel. So that is where, in my own opinion, if you say the root cause, that is where all this started from. But since then, these Arab neighbors, Syria, Jordan, Iraq, Saudi, and Egypt, have the Muslim world believe that these people should have confronted and stopped Israel in its aggression against the Palestinians. But these people have tried and failed. That's the truth. Iran over here now is the only one that is still standing and building the capacity to tell Israel to stop oppressing the Palestinians. That's honestly the situation. So now Israel fears that Iran must not develop nuclear power. Currently, if they say the whole of this Middle East, only this small Israel here has nuclear weapon. So Israel is concerned that Iran over here must not have nuclear weapon and must, even if it has a nuclear weapon, must not have a means of firing the nuclear weapon at them, because they know Iran is ready to defend the Palestinian. So this is at the base of the issue. So Iran over time has been secretly trying to develop nuclear capacity. Now, there is a difference between having nuclear capacity and having nuclear weapon. So fine, they believe, the whole world agrees that Iran has a right to develop nuclear capacity, but they fear that Iran will use the cover of nuclear capacity for energy generation. They will use it as a cover and build nuclear weapon which can target Israel. This is why Israel believes it must attack Iran. So Israel attacked Iran, but Iran was wise enough. If you look at the terrain of Iran, it's so mountainous to something else. Iran is full, all these places are mountains. Iran is full of what? It's full of mountains. Israel's bombs have not been able to Iran's nuclear weapons. So they had to call America. Now I'm trying to answer your question on the escalation. I've tried to answer, of my knowledge, your question on the cause. But the escalation is that when Israel could not take out those nuclear facilities, they had to call America to help them bomb those nuclear facilities. When it was, then America now helped Israel to bomb Iran yesterday. Now, Iran wants to revenge against the America that helped Israel to bomb them. Now, America as a country is not close by, it's far away, but they have bases in Bahrain, Saudi, Iraq. So now Iran, because they cannot reach America in across the ocean, you see, America is far away here, United States. So Iran cannot fire missiles that can go that far, but it's now firing their bases in this area. That is what is causing the escalation. So Iran normally does not want to fire at places like Dubai. You can see Dubai is here. You can see Qatar is here. You can see Bahrain. They are neighbors. So normally, they don't want to fight all these people, but they are hosting the person that is bombing Iran. So you can see a difficult situation for neighboring Muslim countries now. You are hosting a criminal essentially in your house. That makes it difficult for Iran. Now Iran feels justified that wherever they can find Americans, they will strike them. So now Iran is striking Israel. Iran is striking American bases in Qatar, American bases in Iraq. And we don't know, it might even strike American bases in Dubai, in United Arab Emirates, because anywhere it finds American for attacking their Iran has 3 major nuclear sites. That's the one at Isfahan here, the one at Natanz. I don't know where exactly it is on this place. They have a heavy water reactor here in Iraq. They have an enrichment facility in Isfahan, and then somewhere around this comb have the one that is that's the major one, the one that is called the Fordo one. Fordo is supposed to be somewhere around here. So Israel could not, all Israel's bombs did not do any damage to those sites. So they went to get America to help them strike those places. Now that Iran cannot find America to revenge on, they are retaliating. I don't know whether to call it a revenge or a retaliation. They are retaliating on the basis of America across this Persian Gulf. Now, if these Arab nations now decide to also face Iran and attack Iran, we will have a big mess. You have like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 countries fighting against Iran alone. And for what purpose? It is behind it, Israel pitching people against themselves. Because now it's Israel that started this war. That's maybe another way, a short answer to your question. What is really the cause of the war? I think the cause of the current war is that Israel attacked Iran to destroy his nuclear, with the aim to destroy his nuclear bases. But because those nuclear bases all the bombs that Israel had could not penetrate the rocks and the mountains under which Iran placed those nuclear facilities, it consulted or essentially begged America to help them strike those bases. Now, America has also struck those bases. There's no guarantee that it was able to destroy those bases, but now that America has struck Iran using very, very heavy bombers, Iran believes it must also revenge. Now, to revenge, America is not nearby. America is far away. So Iran believes it doesn't have a choice but to strike the American bases in these places wherever it can find them. And that creates a problem, because if you strike my house because you said your enemy is in my house, I mean, it's a difficult situation. But it's really a scary situation. We pray to Allah that this does not escalate, and there will be a way to de-escalate the situation and have a more have a way around it. But it's really difficult because Israel is behind all these things, making sure that there is war and chaos in the Middle East. So we really need to pray that Allah helps us to bring some of these things to some negotiated situation where the Jews, the Arabs, the Persians, everybody can somewhat live together and have a form of cordial living. I think the land is wide enough for everybody to have a place to sleep and raise his children. This is what usually everybody aims for. But it's when you have greedy people that believes, okay, what you have, I have to take it. That's when it gets out of hand. Why are the neighboring Muslim countries just watching and they are not doing anything to help? Well, that's a very valid question. I'll make you an analogy that might enable you to understand that. Have you seen two people fighting before? Two strong men. Maybe you are in a place, you go to an event and two strong men are fighting and they are breaking bottles on their heads and probably using knives on themselves. Can you just choke head? Can you go in the middle of two people that are fighting and breaking bottles to go and separate them? You must make sure that if you go there, your own head will not be smashed. So I think the situation is that most of the neighboring countries fear that Israel has nuclear weapons. They fear that Israel has the support of America and the Western world. So if you do not know how you solve those two issues, nuclear weapon and the support of the Western world, if you go and confront the bully, the troublemaker and the bully, the next thing you might hear might be bomb on your own head too. So this is my thoughts on why many of these neighboring countries might not be able to do much than to condemn it. And we condemn what this person has done. We are watching it with grave concern and this and that. These are some of the things. But as it is now, alhamdulillah, Qatar said that many of the missiles that were fired by Iran were intercepted. There is this, if you shoot a missile, if you have an effective air defense system, your air defense system can shoot down the ballistic missiles as they are coming. So Qatar is saying that the missiles that Iran fired were intercepted. So we are hoping that that would enable, the problem starts when they can say you have killed 5 people, you have killed this number of people. So the problem starts from there. But now that Qatar is saying they intercepted most of the missiles, we are hopeful that they will not want to revenge. They will just maybe like condemn it and, they can talk over it. Now we are waiting to hear from what happened with the missiles that were sent to Iraq, because Iran fired missiles.
Strike on Fordo yesterday. They've
fired
chosen not
missiles at
necessarily
not just
the minimum sort of
Qatar, but they also
course of
fired
action. They
missiles
used
at
something in the middle.
Iraq.
I think a minimum
American
one would have been
bases in Iraq
striking a base
So we
in
are hoping
Iraq.
that,
We also have to understand very important role. I mean, it has been a mediator back channel for Iran. Talking to the United States, it still plays a pivotal role in mediating this potential nuclear deal between the United States and Iran. It shares the greatest gas field with Iran and has helped the Iranians in this respect. So to strike Qatar was certainly an escalatory step beyond what was necessary. It was obviously choreographed. It was but it wasn't necessarily coming with the same kind of
have the right to retaliate. If Qatar should retaliate, then Iran might retaliate even more. And then now Qatar is probably one of the biggest airlines in the world. Now they've had to shut their airspace. All flights in and out of Qatar are currently stopped. All flights in and out of Dubai, you can imagine Emirates and all the flights across all that place. Now there is no flying across all those places. You are talking hundreds of flights. So it's really a very dicey and a very slippery situation. We pray to Allah to make it possible that all these things die down as soon as possible. No part of the world is safe from this escalation. That, like Sister Asia asked, that what is the cause? We can essentially say this round of escalation was caused by Israel's attack on Iran, and then America joining in bombing Iran, and now Iran retaliating on any American base that is nearby. So that creates a very difficult situation for everyone. But the prayer is Iran. Now you can see from Al Jazeera that the shutdown of Qatar's airspace comes after escalating conflict between Iran and Israel. Not just between Iran and Israel. Iran actually fired ballistic missiles into Qatar. But alhamdulillah, Qatar has reported that they were able to intercept the missile. So they did not actually make a hit. But when it's like the ballistic missile is coming and you shoot an interceptor, so they will meet in the air over Qatar and splash, burn houses and things here and there. But at least it's not as destructive as it can be. So we do not know what the situation is with the missiles that were sent into Iraq, but we pray that it doesn't get escalated beyond this point. Because if it gets escalated, you are talking of the whole area that are all Muslim-dominated areas. You are talking Iran, Qatar here, Saudi Arabia here, Iraq here, Kaaba is here, Medina is here. So it's really, really a very dicey situation. It's a situation that it's only prayers that we can use to support the area and pray to Allah that this whole situation starts going down and it doesn't get escalated beyond this point. It's really a situation that is dicey because a Muslim country is hosting the American, and the American is now striking on other countries from your own country. So will those people now, not retaliate when you have a guest on your land that is striking at other people? So it's really an unfortunate situation to be. And I mean, it's only when these Arab nations are able to gain their independence from the American influence that they can say, okay, we are actually building a strategy of our own. So this is, I think, what is currently happening. I hope that for somehow we'll be able to keep a tab on it. I'll be going live again sometime tomorrow to just discuss and update everyone on how these things are unfolding. So if you have any question, I might be able to take one or two more questions if there are. If not, in the next 2 minutes, I think we have the updates. It's a shocking thing. We can only pray to God that this does not escalate. Nobody is too far away from this battlefield. They have a way of impacting. You would know somebody in Saudi, in Qatar. Aircrafts are flying over the place. Accidents can happen. There are times when, like over Ukraine, where a civilian aircraft from Malaysia was flying over Ukraine, not knowing that they had started the war there, and some people just shoot anti-aircraft missile at the civilian aircraft. Almost 200 and something people in the aircraft perished. So it's really a dangerous situation. People that did not know about what was happening in that war, any aircraft could be flying over that place at this time. Any aircraft could be going from somewhere in India trying to get to Europe or something without knowing, and so it's really a situation that we can only pray to God to help us diffuse the situation and enable us achieve peace generally as we go on. So thank you very much for joining the show. Please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe if you are not yet subscribed to the channel. Inshallah, we'll be taking on some of these issues and even national issues. Sometimes we'll be taking some of these breaking news and other news items and sharing our thoughts on this. I mean, we need to be a part of the conversation in the development of our country and the world in general as it affects us generally. Thank you very much. I remain Jibril Ibrahim. I'll see you in the next stream. Thank you.
Generation of people coming in who might have that in business. They also need to try to, desperately try to reestablish some sort of deterrence that Iran has somewhat lost over the course of the last year and a half, if you will. And so I think that's why they didn't go for the minimum sort of symbolic strike on a base in Iraq, but went for a step further, striking Qatar directly, the most important base of the US in the Middle East. So, minimal impact, but I think the show of force, the message that came with it is an escalation beyond what was necessary. I agree with Omar. I mean, it's something that sends a strong message, and the Iranians are saying, we mean business, don't retaliate now.
Andres, Omar, stay with us. I'd like to read everybody the statement put out by Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC. They released the following statement. It says it launched, meaning the IRGC launched, a powerful and devastating missile attack on the Al Udeid air base in Qatar. This base serves as the command center of the U.S. Air Force and is the largest strategic asset of the American terrorist army in West Asia. And that U.S. bases and mobile military are not points of strength. All right, listen to this carefully because I have a question on this. U.S. bases and mobile military assets in the region are not points of strength, but rather vulnerabilities. Omar, how do you interpret that?
Well, I think that's more of a message for the United States as well, and the American public, maybe, because there is a dialogue happening in the United States that, a criticism of Trump after these strikes, that now he's involved the United States and the American people in another war in the Middle East, which it was